Hey, what's up out there? So I thought I'd make a video on the Backstreet Boys' new song Chances. Um, this is something that I've been waiting for. Came out maybe 2 or 3 days ago now. Now my thoughts on the song. As you guys know, I was expecting and hoping for something with a cool harmony arrangement. Nick Carter, I'm paraphrasing him, he said that for their new album, they're bringing back the harmonies. Uh, Now AJ said that that he really liked the harmonies in Baby don't go breaking my heart, breaking my heart. The part where it goes, I've been broken, I've been bruised. Because he said the harmonies are intricate in that part, which is true. It's a perfect four part. There are perfect four parts in that area. And now, for those who are familiar with my brother and I's channel, you'll understand what perfect four part means. So, just a reminder: a perfect four part in our own lingo means four complete parts that are doing something completely different from each other. Often in harmonies, we have people sort of copying each other, but in like different octaves. But my brother, as my brother pointed out in one of his own videos, he feels as though there could have been a perfect five in that area that would have fit very nicely. So I think for Backstreet Boys, they're probably they're probably not as strict as my brother and I are. If it were up to my brother and I, like we would be trying to make perfect five part harmonies everywhere, as many times as possible. But of course, a perfect five part is quite rare, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I want to get out of the way. What do I think of the song? I actually like this song. The harmonies, there's like barely any harmonies in the song, to be quite honest. In the chorus, there's a two-part harmony, as far as I can hear, but like the harmony is so faint, I didn't even hear it the first time. I thought there were no harmonies at all at first, but then I gave it a good listen, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can hear, but it's very, very faint. It's a lower harmony to the melody. Um, it's an interesting song. Like I said, there's like barely any harmonies. It's the song, the way the song is designed, it almost sounds like it was a song meant for like one person. Um, but I don't know. The song is just it's compiled of basically it's just a bunch of solos, really. Everybody gets a solo. The harmonies are so quiet. It's like barely even. It's like it's still a solo anyway. You know what I mean? Because you can have harmonies in solos, but you know it's a solo because it's so prominent, that the lead's so prominent and whatever. But I actually like this song. I think it's a good pop song. It has an interesting sound. It's modern. It has like a epic sound to it. Has this kind of like epic dramatic kind of sound to it. It has emotion, I guess you could say. Now something that I want to talk about is Brian, because in this song Brian sings in it quite a bit. Now this was something that I thought about a lot, was if we're going to hear Brian on their new album all that much. Um, as as we know, Brian has been having some vocal problems, um, and he has a hard time singing certain things. If you've been staying tuned to my channel, as I discussed Brian's conditions, Brian Luttrell, we know that he can still sing high. For example, in a world like this, when he sings um, his uh, his solo in the beginning of the song, he tends to struggle with it. Like his voice is fluttery, and his voice like tenses up, and it sounds like he's having a really hard time singing and keeping a note. Um, but in the later half of the song, when he's singing high, he has control over his voice. And I've seen this in other areas, in other songs, where he sings high and he can still sing pretty well. But it's like mid range stuff he has a hard time with. And what sucks is there's a lot of that mid range stuff in their in the history of their music. So a lot of their hits where Brian sings on it, and Brian, of course, it's no mystery to anybody that he sang the most. So it kind of sucks for him because A lot of that mid-tone stuff he can't really sing very well anymore, and he has to try to compensate by going in and out of falsetto or just trying his best. But yeah, I feel really bad because a lot of their hits he performed on, and you can tell that he's struggling with it. But this song, I thought it was interesting because I thought if he sang on a song that perhaps they would heavily auto-tune him, but if you listen to the song, it doesn't sound like he's auto-tuned at all. And I'm convinced that there's either little to no auto-tune, and why I say that is because it sounds so clean, and not only that, the song is actually at a height where he can sing pretty well. So, I believe they got just good takes from him. And, so I think it was a good move to have him sing on this song, because it demonstrates that he can still sing. Something else to add, depending on the music that we're going to get from them later on, Brian can still sing low. So he can still sing low pretty well, and he can still sing high pretty well. He still struggles, but like he struggles a lot less, like significantly less. So you can find live performances of some of their older songs that they don't really perform all that much anymore, that are like lower, and he can still sing pretty good, as long as it's at a certain pitch. It's that mid-range stuff that he struggles to sing. So I just watched a live performance of the song, and I was really interested in watching because I wanted to hear how Brian would perform, and I was right. Brian performs the song pretty well. He actually performs it pretty well at the lower parts. What if I never run into you, or whatever the pitch is. What if I, like, you can tell he's tensing up a little bit to focus on the note. But then when he goes into the higher stuff, he has total control. And because the song is quite high, he has total control, and he sounds quite well. I don't think most people would suspect anything listening to the live performance. But me, being the analytical guy, I can hear him tense up just a little bit, but it really isn't all that bad. I think he performed the song really well, and it warmed my heart to hear that. They have a solid song, where he can perform quite well. Now, of course, I'm a harmonies guy, so I was a little disappointed that the harmonies weren't all that cool. It's kind of like what's it called now? Show 'em What You're Made Of. I think that song is really cool, and there's like very few harmonies in the song, but I feel like it could have had a lot of potential, that song, for an epic harmony arrangement. But the fact that it doesn't have any doesn't bother me, because I still think it's a really cool song, and I guess it's just kind of an artistic decision. But for this song, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna kind of rely on other songs. Their first single, "Baby Don't Go Breaking My Heart," wasn't that impressive. I wasn't all that impressed. The part that "I've been broken, I've been bruised," perfect 4-part, that's pretty cool. Could have had a perfect 5-part according to my brother, and I believe him. And that's kind of something on my wish list for Backstreet Boys in their upcoming album, to have a perfect 5-part somewhere. I want to find a perfect 5-part somewhere. Now, let me tell you, perfect 5-parts are pretty rare, because it's hard to fit in a song, especially in the chorus where you don't want any tension and it has to sound a certain way. Just quick examples of perfect 5-parts in the history of Backstreet Boys songs. All I Have to Give, the "Oh, oh, 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 everything I have is for you." In that section, there's a perfect 5-part, as I pointed out in another video of mine. Another one is the "I just wanna be close to you." That's a perfect 5-part. And "I wanna be with you." My brother analyzed that song, and he said that there's a perfect 5-part, and that's in the actual chorus. But very, very few times is there a perfect 5-part in a song. Even take any group, it's pretty rare. Perfect 4-parts, those are heard of, but a perfect 5-part, and just a reminder, perfect 5-parts is when each individual singer is singing a note completely different from each other. So they're there every now and then, But see, if it were up to my brother and I, we would put perfect five parts everywhere as much as we can. But I don't know what the producers are up to, and I don't know what their standards are. And I know Backstreet Boys are probably now that they're with actual they're working with a label and stuff now, so they probably have less creative control now. But when they did have creative control on the album In a World Like This, they didn't make any cool harmony arrangements at all. Um, and that's my criticism of In a World Like This. The harmony arrangements weren't all that good, which was kind of disappointing. They had catchy songs. The actual song In a World Like This, I think, is a very solid song, and that had the most intricate harmonies in the entire album. I think. A lot of the album had like three parts. Sometimes I'm confused, like if there's even three part in certain songs. I think. Um, yeah, but I'm hoping this next album Nick will live up to his word, and we'll see about the perfect five parts. I think that's wishful thinking, honestly. But you let me know if you think we'll find one, because I don't think there's been a perfect five part since like the first album, or I mean the second album. Sorry, I don't think there's been a perfect five since the second album, which is Backstreet's Back, 1997. Um, Now another complaint I have about the song Chances, uh, the song is prominently um a main singer. Like for example, Nick, he sings the most in the song. Brian and AJ sing in it too. But Kevin and Howie, for example, they get the short end of the stick once again in this song. They get to sing, which is very very good, but not their harmonies. Their solos are kept pretty short. Um, Something that I think is really interesting is the fact that Howie sings so low in the song. It's not even that low, but Howie doesn't sing low ever. So they gave him a solo that's quite low, and then they gave Kevin, the lower end guy, singing that high solo. And I found that Kevin's part sounds pretty auto-tuned. That's odd to me. So Brian's parts don't sound auto-tuned, but Kevin's does. And Kevin doesn't have any vocal trouble. That's kind of weird to me. There's certain parts that sound quite auto-tuned. I think producers are kind of lazy nowadays. I've heard things before that sound pretty auto-tuned in recent days. I think producers just get kind of lazy and kind of rely on auto-tune now. Not too much. Not too much. Not to say like all singers are bad now, but yeah, I think producers are kind of lazy. My first ever professional recording session, as I mentioned in another video, because my brother and I are going to be featured on a guy's rap album. I felt as though the producers they kind of had that good enough mentality, but I kind of I pushed back because I'm not a guy who's satisfied with a good enough take. I want a good solid take. If you don't have to use autotune at all, or I don't even know if I should say autotune. I'll just say pitch correction. Because autotune, everybody associates autotune with like, you know, like you know what I mean? Like what's a popular song that has autotune? Is it T-Pain, like T-Pain songs or whatever? Like I'm just trying to mimic it. Probably making a fool out of myself right now. But yeah. I think there's probably a overabundance of pitch correction nowadays, but in a world like this, there were times where Brian kind of sounded a little autotune, won't lie. But he didn't on this track. And Don't Go Breaking My Heart, he didn't sound autotune at all because he's singing falsetto in that song, so he doesn't need it. But yeah, I think Chances is a solid song. Now, something that I think is interesting is that, like I said, it sounds like there's a two-part harmony, and the harmony's very faint. I just listened to a live performance of them on X Factor, and now there's like all of a sudden there's like more harmonies. This is something that I should have expected from Backstreet Boys, that they're gonna like add a harmony or two when they perform to make people more involved and to make it more, I guess more of like a group thing, right? Um, Quite frankly, I like the way it sounds with harmonies. So that's kind of a shame, man. You know, I'm listening to this live performance and I'm like, oh, I'm digging this. but the actual song doesn't sound like that. Um, yeah, we'll see about what sucks is you have to wait, right? Because I really want to see what else they have. Um, who's to say when the next song's gonna come out? Uh, we're probably not gonna see another song until like another 3 months or so. Um, but yeah, hopefully, what Nick said is true and that there's gonna be some cool harmonies coming up. I'm worried about them having an overly, how do I say this, overly modern sound, because I don't really like the modern sound and I like the Backstreet Boys sound, and hopefully they can find a good middle ground. Um, but yeah, I remember reading in the comments, some people were like, "Oh, Brian did so well, and he's gotten so much better." And I don't want to be pessimistic, but for me, the reason why he sounds better is because it's at a pitch that he can sing well at. I'm not gonna go on and say, "Oh, he's not getting better" or "he's not better." I'm a positive guy, and you know, God bless him. Hopefully, one day he'll be better, and that he's constantly getting better. Um, but my reasoning, and I believe I am right, the reason why he sounds so good on this song is because it's at a pitch that he can sing, and I was very proud to see him perform and look comfortable up there. So, and he'll be able to promote a single, and be able to sing it. So that warms my heart. And now that they're getting help from they're getting financial help, because they're signed onto a label and everything, so they can do promotion and everything. So that's really cool. Hope to hear Kevin and Howie sing a lot more. Maybe have them as leads. I want to see them have leads. There's songs where it's prominently one guy. You know what I mean? Like Nick and I Just Want You to Know. Like that's totally his song. If you get what I mean. I want to see a Kevin song or a Howie song. If you get what I mean. Anyways, I'm just gonna cut it off here. Just shooting the breeze. Let me know your thoughts. Are you hopeful to find a perfect 5 part? Or how about even an acapella? What about that? That's another thing on my wish list before we close off. Do you think we'll have an acapella arrangement? Maybe that acapella will have a perfect 5 part. That's something that Backstreet Boys I feel as though kind of lacks is harmony arranged songs. Like songs like I Thought She Knew or It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, songs like that. All the great boy bands and vocal groups have songs like that. 98 Degrees, All for One, I already said that. In Sync. So, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they'll have an acapella song. Anyways, I'm gonna close it off now. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.